Chief Science Officer Sabrina Bulan, Cycle 35. At 0600 hours, survey teams 4, 5, and 6 embarked on a standard IDSG scouting mission for the Vindicator's next jump point. At 17 minutes on the mission clock, we received an all green from Team 4. Ensign Lagari wrote off the report as an error, but identical reports continue to arrive at 49-second intervals. I checked the report's additional comment section where it appeared Team 4 had written, "We are not being controlled by parasitic life forms, so come on over." I missed the dimension with the talking hamsters.
Announcement from the bridge. I would like to talk to all of you today about sacrifice. On Gate Day, as our species prepared to embark on its first interdimensional journey, our enemy, managed to infiltrate an entire fleet, we'll never know. But something else you may not know is that my own brother was the officer who sent the Mayday from the HSF Santa Maria. And I was the officer who ordered it shut down. The human space fleet destroyed 90% of its own forces that day, and in spite of that sacrifice, our enemy still managed to commandeer our ships and escape through the gate. So was it worth it? Most would say no. But I say, not yet. Why? Because we can still win this if we all make the sacrifice.
Announcement concluded. Emotional support vehicles are available in the break room.
Look around you. Let's all take a moment to acknowledge that we are surrounded by perfection. Our vessel is state-of-the-art. Our AI is the pinnacle of human achievement. Our crew is the best and brightest our species has to offer, and our captain is me. To put it plainly, I don't think there's anything that can stop us from restoring peace and order to the galaxy. No, scratch that. Every galaxy.
Sophia Anne Artois was quite the painter in her day. Her art brought fame and fortune. All her meals were gourmet. So when her husband told her they must move to lands afar, she answered, "You will build a home that's fit for an Artois." The lady and her husband did arrive with their 2 boys. Sophia loved the house, but found its land a counterpoise. Dark. There were swamps instead of springs. But worst of all were all the wretched, creepy, crawly things. As months went by, the artist felt she lost her inspiration. She cursed her new surroundings as the cause of her stagnation. But then it came, the one to blame, the spider that made her exclaim and strike as she was painting, how she fought to keep from fading. It was there beneath her paint and brush, the spider that Sophia crushed and scraped against her canvas turned to cry. And in her heart she felt a rush that warmed her blood and made her blush. Through wicked teeth she whispered one more time. It says sweet Sophia Anne Artois did lose her mind that day. At least that's what the servants and the local spiders say. She crawled beneath the floorboards, catching spiders every night. Alas, her muse did kill her. Cause of death, a spider bite.
Francis's family had a vacant vacation home. It had stood empty since the passing of his mother, Sophia, and it was that emptiness that had lured him back. Like his mother, Francis was a terribly serious artist. He worked with hammer and chisel, marble and stone, and required the utmost focus when he sculpted. And yet, unlike his mother, Francis dared not rely upon such fickle things as feelings and inspiration to move his hand. He simply committed himself to the discipline of his work, and he was very good at it. He was not very good at being a father. When his three daughters, Annie, Thisbe, and Penelope, would come to visit, the silence of the manor was shattered by their laughter as they played their favorite game, red light, green light. Francis liked the game better back when it was called Statues. These days, he didn't like it at all. He suggested they play a new game. For every cobweb they dusted and spider they squished, he would pay them each 1 nickel. And the girls obeyed. One afternoon, while Francis rested his weary head, the girls spotted a spider in the upstairs hallway. They followed it into their father's studio, where it crawled all the way to the top of a towering self-sculpture. With nickels dancing in their heads, the trio wheeled a ladder to the statue and climbed until they could climb no higher. From the tallest rung, they reached out their arms with swatters in hand, hoping for a satisfying squish. Just then, their father arose and returned to his studio where, at the sight of his children teetering over his prized work, he let out a terrible shout. It gave the girls such a start that they lost their balance. The ladder wiggled, the sculpture wobbled, and as they all toppled over, Francis leapt with all his might to save his statue. There was, indeed, a satisfying squish. When Carl heard there was a death in the family, he was overjoyed. He had always gone to great lengths to stay in touch with his relatives, no matter how distant or senile or technically unrelated, because Carl was familiar with the age-old saying, "You can't take it with you." And he was happy to take whatever it was that they couldn't. In this case, it was a house. The last bit of evidence that Carl's family was, at one point, a family of status. They were renowned painters, sculptors, and photographers. Carl bought houses and rented them to short-term tenants. But this one was unlike any he had seen before. Even for an abandoned home, the interior contained an alarming abundance of cobwebs. What bothered Carl more, though, was that this home didn't seem abandoned at all. There were things that didn't quite fit. Dried meats and plants hung about the kitchen, an assortment of jars filled with elixir. There was even an enormous cauldron resting beside a pair of ancient broomsticks. It was clear to Carl what he was dealing with. Squatters, he bellowed. If there was one thing Carl couldn't stand, it was people who thought they had some sort of right to a roof over their heads. Strangling his cell phone, he dialed a cleaning company, then a moving company, and even mustered enough strength to order a pizza. By the time the sun had set, Carl was ready for a good, undeserved rest. But he would not get it. Not that night or any night to follow. He would wake with a start to the sound of a broken grandfather clock chiming in the darkness, or to what he swore were whispers coming from the walls. Even Carl's waking hours brought him no respite, for no matter how much tidying had been done the day before, it brought with it more cobwebs. It was enough to drive a person mad. The last time anyone in town saw Carl, he was at the local hardware store, muttering to himself over tubs of insecticide, bug traps, and other violent delights. And as for the last time we saw him, well, that's a secret the spiders did politely ask us to keep. The night of the flood, Bella and I gathered all that was precious to us and tore apart our home. It would never have survived the rising waters as a cottage, but as a raft, we hoped it might carry us someplace new.
Turned right. It carried the both of us through the night. And when the raft had run aground, we couldn't believe what we had found.
What must once have been a private, lavish home now sat covered in moss and chickweed. It looked as though it had always been there, sprouted from the earth like the rest of the forest. And that's how you know you're in the right neck of the woods. Given enough time, a good forest always welcomes you into the family.
We climbed ashore, knocked on the door, when Donna heard scratching beneath the floor. We searched and found, to our surprise, a family of spiders before our eyes.
The spiders welcomed us into their home. The walls were adorned with mouse holes and mold, and the air was thick with the scent of tragedy. It was, in a word, perfect. During those early summer days, we would forage for fungi and weave garments from the spider silk. And in the evenings, we played the piano and sang with the creatures of the night until the night was over.
The spiders here we did befriend. We wished that our time here would never end. So then I sat and I had to think, and I thought of a potion we could drink.
Since drinking Bella's potion, she and I have grown closer than ever before. When we're not crawling on the walls and ceilings, we enjoy returning to our original forms to write about the adventures we've had and the stories we've heard. It's hard to believe the sort of things the spiders here have witnessed, and the plans their kind has for the future sound even more far-fetched. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that you should never underestimate a spider. They have ways of making you regret it.
Should strangers come and find our tale, take heed. The spiders here will prevail. Our time has come to bid adieu, but you're not alone. We're watching you.
This is Chief Technical Officer Dan Reynolds going on record again with a list of complaints I would like to file against my fellow crew members. You'll find my reports detailed and alphabetically ordered, but allow me to save you some time. My team and I did not go through the trouble of transferring Darwin to the most technologically advanced vessel of all time just so a bunch of nerds could use it to play video games. At this rate, we're going to have to start reallocating Compound X just to keep up with the power demand. What we do here is greatly serious business. It's an interdimensional war against a race of super spiders, for crying out loud.